Thank you very much, DM Litsike. Co-program directors, Deputy Minister in the Presidency responsible for women, youth, and persons with disabilities, DM Steve Litsike, and Northwest MEC for Social Development, MEC Susana Danji. Our host, Premier of the Northwest Province, Ntate Lazarus Mokhosi, and all MECs of the Northwest Province here present. Minister in the Presidency responsible for women, youth, and persons with disabilities, Mesindiswa Chikunga. Minister of Social Development, Mesisi Dolashe. Ministers and Deputy Ministers here present, Mayor of Rustenburg Local Municipality, Councillor Sheila Mabale-Huma, Premiers and Speakers of provincial legislatures from other provinces who are here, Executive Mayors and Councillors who are here, Chairperson of the Commission for Gender Equality, Chairperson of Salga in the province, Khosi Mautwe, and all traditional leaders present here today, leaders of faith-based organizations, leaders of the private sector, leaders of civil society organizations, ambassadors and UN representatives, leaders of academic and research institutions, members of the media, invited guests, fellow South Africans, Dumela. Sechaba Sabukoni Buprima Dumela. Letsuhile. Program directors, I stand before you today as we mark the beginning of the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children, a campaign that calls upon each one of us to take a stand against the injustices that continue to plague our society. This period, from the 25th November to the 10th of December, is a time for reflection, action, and solidarity. During this period, we collectively raise our voices to draw attention to the persistent violence against women and children. However, a full year of action is required to combat gender-based violence and femicide, not just during these 16 days. This year's theme, 30 years of advancing collective action to end violence against women and children, serves as a reminder of the progress we have made and the work that still lies ahead. For 3 decades, we have been united in a shared vision to create a world free from violence and discrimination. We have witnessed the power of collective action in raising awareness, supporting survivors, and advocating for policy changes that protect the most vulnerable amongst us. Compatriots, in South Africa every year, thousands of children, fall pregnant. According to Statistics South Africa, last year's birth to teenage girls aged between 10 and 19 years represented 12% of all births. In numbers, we are talking about 102,648 girls. These are not just numbers. They are young girls who should be in school, playing with their friends, dreaming about their futures, and building their hopes. We must understand that child pregnancies do not happen in a vacuum. They are the result of deep-rooted socio-economic, cultural, and educational issues. Many child pregnancies are the result of rape and sexual abuse. This indicates a decline in moral standards within our society, and we must deal with such individuals by reporting them to the police, denying them bail, and placing them in jail. If we are to win this battle against GBV, we must act collectively and not shield those who commit these heinous crimes. Compatriots, as government, we are committed to taking the findings of these surveys seriously, and we will integrate them into our work. These findings will fit directly into the National Strategic Plan on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide, the NSP on GBVF, which provides the roadmap for our national response. The government is working with all sectors to develop an action plan that will be implemented. We will collaborate towards a plan that prioritizes the needs of the most vulnerable and guarantees the inclusion of everyone in our joint endeavor to eradicate this violence. This is a national crisis that requires a national response. I assure you, we are fully committed to taking these findings forward to build a safer, more just society for all. As part of its continuous commitment to combating this scourge, the Cabinet has approved dealing with gender-based violence and femicide as if it were a pandemic. The foundation of this approach lies in a clear focus on three key areas. First one, strengthening institutional arrangements, which we are advancing by establishing a multi-sectoral National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide to coordinate and drive efforts across all sectors. The second one, scaling up prevention efforts, including leveraging preferential procurement to help alleviate poverty, which is a key driver of this violence, whilst creating sustainable economic opportunities for vulnerable communities. And thirdly, we are enhancing the use of evidence-based approaches, ensuring that solid data, research, and the lived experience of victims and survivors inform all our interventions and policies. Fellow South Africans, let me also share with you some of the concrete actions we have taken over the past year to create a safer and more just society. We have passed laws that prioritizes the safety of women and children, including the Domestic Violence and the Sexual Offences Act. The National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Bill was signed into law by the President on May the 24th this year, establishing it as an urgent priority. We are also piloting online applications for protection orders, making it easier for victims to access the legal protection they need. As we speak, 68 courts have been upgraded to meet the minimum standards for the National Strategy on Reasonable Accommodations. This will ensure that all court users, including those with disabilities, have access to justice. We have completed the Gqeberha Forensic Laboratory and upgraded the crime administration system, enabling better management of crime data. Strides have been made in clearing the historical DNA backlog and prioritizing cases to ensure timely and effective justice for victims and survivors. We developed a category of crimes constituting gender-based violence, making it easier to identify and track cases in our legal system. The Women Economic Assembly, WECONA, launched in October 2021, has unlocked opportunities for women across key sectors such as the automotive, agriculture, mining, energy, manufacturing, and the health sector. The Presidential Women's Economic Empowerment Program has reached more than 6.6 thousand women entrepreneurs across several provinces, helping them to grow their businesses through preferential procurement opportunities. We have supported 270 civil society organizations across the country that provide direct services to victims and survivors with a total of 89.7 million rands in funding. And this is done through the Criminal Justice and Recovery Asset Funds. Approximately 96.9 thousand victims have accessed psychological support through the GBV Command Center. We have established 3 Khuseleka centers and increased the number of designated health facilities to 57, ensuring victims have access to comprehensive support. The number of Thuthuzela care centers in South Africa has been increased to 65 through partnerships with civil society and the private sector. These centers offer comprehensive support to victims, including medical care, psychological or social services, and legal assistance. The mining sector is also working to improve response, care, and support services for victims and survivors with a center sponsored in Limpopo and also here in the Northwest. Compatriots, these are the tangible steps that show our commitment. Using the whole of society approach, we will persistently assess the effectiveness of these interventions. We will focus on prevention and economic empowerment, recognizing the importance of financial independence and breaking the cycle of violence. We are committed to creating opportunities for women and children, ensuring they have access to quality education, employment, and resources that enable them to achieve financial independence. We must work together across all levels of society to drive systemic change and build a safer, more equitable environment for all. Compatriots, we must further collaborate to harness technology and innovation to combat gender-based violence and accelerate a gender-inclusive digital economy. We must have zero tolerance towards gender violence in online and digital spaces. The rise of the digital economy and the increasing use of technology in our daily life have introduced new avenues for perpetrators to harm, exploit, and abuse women and children. From cyberbullying and online harassment to the dangers posed by social media platforms, digital spaces can become a breeding ground for violence. However, we can also harness the same technology as a tool for change, protection, and empowerment. From using mobile apps that provide immediate support to victims and survivors to artificial intelligence that can help us understand and cap this pandemic, the potential is vast. Mobile apps, helplines, and emergency response systems provide a direct link to safety, offering quick access to shelters, medical care, and also legal assistance. In South Africa, initiatives such as GBV Command Center, a 24/7 digital and telephonic support service, have proven instrumental in helping victims and survivors. We must leverage these advancements to enhance our prevention strategies, improve our response mechanisms, and ensure that no one is left behind. We should make the internet a place where everyone can feel safe and respected. Moreover, accelerating a gender-inclusive digital economy is essential for empowering women and children. Access to technology and digital skills can open new economic opportunities, enabling financial independence and resilience. As we embark on these 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children, let us harness the power of technology and innovation to drive systemic change. Let us not forget that technology can be a force for good. It has the potential to save lives, connect victims and survivors, to support and also hold perpetrators accountable in ways that were previously unimaginable. Fellow South Africans, while progress has been made, the road to eliminating gender-based violence in South Africa is long and requires sustainable commitment and action. It is not enough for us to simply react to violence. We must prevent it. Meaningful change requires collective action from all sectors of society. We must instill in our children, our youth, and ourselves that respect, equality, and dignity for every individual, regardless of gender, is non-negotiable. We must engage men and boys in this struggle because their participation is essential to ending gender-based violence and femicide. We cannot build a society free from violence if we do not challenge the harmful attitudes, stereotypes, and toxic masculinity that perpetuate it. These deep-seated beliefs are learned and passed down through generations, and it is only through collective action that we can begin to change this culture. We must fight GBV from its root causes. We call on all men to take the pledge to end gender-based violence and femicide. In this regard, a pledge for South African men to end GBVF offers practical ways for men to become allies. This pledge is a declaration of your commitment to speak against harmful behavior, stand up for vulnerable individuals, and work towards fostering respect, equality, and safety for all people. Your pledge is a pledge to not remain silent. Fellow South Africans, I urge all of you, government, traditional leaders, faith-based communities, civil society, business, development partners, communities, and individuals to commit to this fight. Together we can make South Africa a country where violence against women and children is nothing but a dark chapter of the past. As we mark these 16 days of activism, let us renew our resolve and stand united in this fight for the sake of our mothers, our daughters, our sisters, and all women in our land. Our actions today will determine the future of our nation. A future where all women and children can walk freely in their communities without fear of violence. We have the power to shape this future. But we must all take responsibility, and we must do it now. Program directors, as I conclude, allow me to take this moment together with all of you to remember and honor the lives of many of our children, our sisters, and mothers who have lost their lives to this scourge. It is in your honor that we continue this fight. To all women who currently find themselves victims of gender-based violence, we want you to know that we are here for you. We love you, and we encourage you to speak out and step out. As government, we will do all it takes to protect you and ensure that you have a prosperous future. Thank you very much.